What up, Moyak? We are here for another little podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about Truman. We're going to talk a little about the River Series, and we're going to talk a little bit about Stockton. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in our guests for tonight. We've got Micah Thunderberg, and then we also have Aaron Gardner. Micah finished third at the Truman Moyak event, and then Aaron just won the River Series. I invited Chris Longshore and Tim Van Sickler, but they denied our request to come on and talk about Moyak. So congrats to those guys going 1 and 2. But Micah, you finished third with 77.5 inches, man. It seemed like it was a really tough weekend, but talk to us about Truman. Talk to us how you caught him and how you did, man.
Well, obviously we were there for 2 days for the Classic, and Moyak had their event for the second day. So I was based on a lot of what I did on the second day, based off what worked the first day, which was kind of like a wacky rig presentation, like something real slow up against grass lines for the most part. For some reason, whatever I threw, it seemed like they wanted to hit it on the fall. They didn't want stuff that was like on the bottom. But I just kept losing a bunch of fish with the wacky rig for some reason. That first day, I lost 8 fish on it and still managed like 72 something inches. They just kept throwing it when they jumped. And so I lost my first 2 fish on it the second day, the day of the Moyak tournament, and just put it in timeout. Just didn't fish with it the whole rest of the tournament for the Moyak, and used like a weightless beaver style bait, and basically fished it the same way as you would a wacky. Just let it fall and shimmy. It's real slow, kind of way that no one wants to fish, but it's the way that was catching them. So usually the first pocket in a creek, sometimes the second pocket in a creek, midway back to all the way back.
Yeah, it was definitely, kind of weird settings in, like where they were probably spawning, getting ready to spawn, and then there were another, water came up anywhere from, 10 to 15 foot, depending on how you looked at the water gauge and all that. But it was really tough. Like I caught fish in practice, nothing special, but like come tournament day, like it was horrible. Probably the worst tournament I ever had. But guys were definitely catching them. And it sounded like everyone was like finesse, super shallow. A lot of guys talked about a fluke or a weightless bait, something kind of like that. Michael, why do you think that ended up being like that?
I'm not 100% sure. I fished 2 half days in practice, Thursday, Friday. Thursday because I just got to the area later in the day, and Friday because it just downpoured like the second half of the day. And I caught 4 fish combined in those 2 days, and none of them were good. So I going into Friday, didn't really have anything lined up, and just started figuring out the wacky rig thing and just kind of rode that. But I feel like they were trying to spawn when the water started rising, and then they just spread out. And I think they were on their way back in, because I saw some guys fishing beds. It looked like fishing beds, sight fishing. And then, they were fishing the very, very back of Big Arms too. And they wouldn't be back there unless they were spawning. I think, just like how it usually happens for a Moyak event, I think we were a day or two early for it to be really nice. But yeah, I think they were just really spread out and trying to get back in there. The males were primarily shallow, and then the females were, as you were seeing through all the limits, pretty hard to come by. If you got one female in your limit, you're killing it. So yeah, it's just kind of a funky deal they're in.
Aaron, how's Truman for you, man? We heard a lot of guys catch him on finesse, and I in practice I didn't think they were in the bushes at all, in the grass or anything like that. But Aaron, what was it for you, man?
Man, it was tough. I was trying to force feed them. I was flipping the tube, and the couple I caught were deep fish, but I just numbers wise, it was tough. I fished dirty water the first day, and I just don't think had been stabilized long enough to have any fish pulled up because the bites were few and far between. So
You say you fish dirty water, Micah. What was water clarity for you? Were you looking for cleaner water or?
Yeah, I was in 2 to 3 feet of visibility, so pretty clear for Truman at that point.
And you said you're focusing on grass lines, so it wasn't your typical brush or bush bite. It sounds like you were just focusing on the grass lines. Do you think they were just like, what do you think drew them to that?
I have no idea. I tried fishing bushes. Everybody was fishing the bushes, and not really everybody wasn't catching them. But it just seemed like anytime I could find different kinds of grasses that had been flooded, and they were, like in 2 to 3 feet. It just seemed like that was the area that I was catching fish on. I don't really know. It didn't make any sense because it wasn't like that thick a cover or anything. But I know based off of the people I saw fishing that I was probably the only one in the area doing that.
Yeah, when we were at camp there, we all stayed at a lot of us stayed at Buck Ridge, but I was talking to another guy that was catching them on a chatterbait. But he asked me, he goes, "Hey, on that bank that you fished over there, because he didn't fish it, he's like, was it bush or was it grass?" And I was like, "It was grass." He goes, "Oh, okay," because that's what I'm looking for. And I'm like, I should have adapted on day 2 and probably would have been a lot better off, but
Mm-hmm. It was really weird.
Yeah, I went and buddy fished, but like we've been to Truman when it was super up, like 2 years ago, and it was like a shad spawn in the morning, so you were like fishing outside the bushes, and then midday afternoon you were fishing the bushes and flipping at the bases and stuff like that. But it really, like, everyone talked about bush bite, and I was like, I don't think it's there, but guys weren't talking about them being up in like the grassy stuff.
Mm-hmm. They were in it too. Like there were a couple bites where I threw like a wacky, like a foot outside the line, and then I saw like a 12-inch buck bass just wake out of that grass and just pop it. Like there were fish coming out of it, even though there was only a foot of water in it.
And when you say grass, like I think of more like it's not the bush stuff. It's like the higher grass that was like in like the. It's just, to me, it looked a little different.
Yeah, just like pasture grass, basically, like just
Yeah.
tall, like not thick grass, not like milfoil or whatever. A lot of people say grass and they mean like,
But you were talking about grass
submergent
like on the
vegetation.
bank. Yeah, you were talking about grass that was on the bank, and that's kind of what you were targeting.
Yeah, and the water rose to cover it. But yeah.
Yeah,
Weird.
Dollars to Donut says they're in the bushes right now, and you can just slip just about any bush and get a fight,
Yeah.
But well, Micah, for sure, man. Congrats on third place. Again, Chris Longshore took first. Tim Van Sickler took second. Chris Longshore took first with 81 inches. Tim 79, and Micah was 77. And honestly, with that Moyak event, a limit went a really long way. Really long way.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the River Series. Micah, did you fish the River Series on Saturday?
I did not. I moved beginning of last week. So I had to leave from that to go to the Truman event. And then I was trying to play catch up this last weekend on getting unpacked and all that. So missed out on the River Series.
And then you had a little bit of weather too, as well, right?
Yeah, my barn. We moved out to the country. My barn got leveled, and a tree got uprooted in our front yard. So it's a good housewarming gift.
Welcome to the neighborhood, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, tell us about the river, man. Tell us where'd you go? What'd you see? How'd you catch them? Give us the juice, man.
I was on went to the Gasconade like always. I think I can go about to it. I think about in every tournament we have because it stretches across all three zones. But yeah, showed up to a normal spot that I go to, and then we or not we, but I started flipping. I mean, instantly the river's up. I think about that time 4 foot. It was on the downhill. It was coming down the last 2 days, so tried fishing out a little bit, trying to because I kind of know where the old bank line is, and didn't do very well. Finally found them pretty much sitting right on the bank. I don't know. I think caught some of them spawning because I hit an 18 a quarter and two 18s and like three other keepers all within like a 5 foot spot. So I think they were stacked up trying to get the spawn done, and yeah, it was like that all day. Just about every rock, every piece of cover, something, it had a fish on it of some sort. So it was just about the best day I've ever had on the river for sure.
When you say flipping, like, were you just like Texas rig or just a
Yeah,
jig, or what
no,
was it for you?
yep, Texas rig tube. I started off with, just a lighter weight. I throw a lightweight compared to a lot of guys, I bet. Like 3/16 to an eighth, I'll flip with that slower fall. It's just something I've kind of been accustomed to. But I moved up to a quarter, and later in the day because I got in a swifter current, but it didn't seem to really matter. It was dirty water. You put it in front of them, they were eating it. So flipping a tube.
Did you fish with anybody? Were you solo? Did Mason
Well,
go
I
with you?
mean, but he went upriver. I don't know, I think about 10 miles from me upriver. So, but yeah, it was just me on this stretch. I didn't see anybody else, and that was it. So, kind of had it all to myself all day. It's pretty nice.
How was the water for you?
Good. I mean, it was dirty, but it wasn't Truman dirty. Actually had a little visibility, probably about 5, 6 inches. Um, normal river for this time of year to me. But it made it perfect. I think. I mean, it made them fish. They were super shallow, so they're definitely easy to flip to and get the bite, and didn't have to work very hard. So.
Looking at turning X and whatnot, it looks like you had some smallmouth in there. Was your entire bag smallmouth? Did you have any largemouth at all?
No, I was shocked too because normally that's what I go gearing up for. I mean, I'll catch some decent smallmouth, but it seems like as the time of year goes on, it seems like largemouth play more of a role in my bags. But I caught one spot, one off of one log, and that was it. That's the only black I caught. Didn't catch a single largemouth. It was smallmouth all day, which was odd.
It'll be a fun day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun for sure because they're fighting, man. There's some fighting fish, especially in that current.
That's
Yep.
awesome, man. That's anytime you get into smallmouth, even the smallmouth, the smaller ones.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot of fun.
Especially when you catch multiple 18s like that. Yeah, by far the best day I've ever had. So
How did Mason was with you? How did he end up doing?
I don't think very well. I don't want to knock on the guy real well because that's kind of his home stretch. He's actually the one that introduced me to the Gasconade, but he ran to some history, I think, and he didn't do very well. I don't think. I think the water was a little swifter and not as stable for him up where he was at. So I think he only ended up with 3 in his bag and said he caught like 5 all day, something like that. So I told him he should have just stayed with me because I was throwing 16 inches back.
Yeah, it looks like if I go through this real quick, it looks like Big Bass was 20 inches.
Yep.
and that was a largemouth, and that was Perry Burton.
Yep. 20 inches, I think.
But you and Tyler, like I talked to him, and the crazy thing when I talked to him, he's like, I've got stuff going on Saturday, mid morning, afternoon.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna go fish for 3 hours, and I was like, what? He goes, yeah, I'm just gonna go to my spot that I know that I like, and
Yeah.
so I don't know if that was he said he was off the water by 10:30. Now I don't know if he went out later or not or what, but to have 89 and a quarter, 89 and a half, whatever he had, that was pretty cool. But then I mean, it looks like you submitted your fish late and jumped on it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Tyler's a stick on the river, man. I'm gunning for him this year. I don't know if he's watching or not, but I have it out for him this year. He won championship last year, but he told me the same thing. He only had about 3 hours of fish, and that's impressive to put that bag up in 3 hours. So, I mean, I could have quit. I think my last fish I caught, my last 18 I caught was like 12:30, so I could have quit halfway through the day, but I just kept on just because I love being out there. But yeah, that's impressive for Tyler for sure.
Yeah, it looks like Mason even had a 17-inch smallmouth on his, and you guys are in the same area, so it sounds like you guys were around some quality fish. But it was really cool seeing numbers wise. I think the entire field out of 28 had limits except 3 guys. There were some 2 and 1 and 2, 3 limits, but looks like most everybody filled their limit, and that's pretty exciting for a river event, especially after watching Truman and being so tough.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice, cool to see when everybody can catch fish. I mean, to me, I've always been a guy that gets in my own head. Like when I don't catch them, like Truman, I was really down. So I think when everybody can catch them, it kind of brings spirit for everybody and makes them want to keep competing. So it's pretty awesome when everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Right after Truman, I had my kayak and all my fishing gear and all that listed on Facebook real quick because, gosh, it was frustrating. It was like I didn't know what to do. It was just one of those things. Like I went to one spot one day, one spot the other day. Even practice, it was just like I have no clue. Like there was no like one go-to bait. Like I caught them doing different things in practice, and then come Friday it was like, are there even fish in this lake? And then Saturday was even worse. I got off the water early, but it's good to see guys catching them, getting on the river. Mike, are you fishing any of the river events this year?
I don't know. I think maybe.
Maybe.
I haven't really thought too hard about it. It's not going to be a priority for me.
Yeah, you definitely got the rig for it, man, with that Outback.
Yeah, but I just don't enjoy fishing rivers as much. I don't know. Maybe I'm fishing the wrong rivers, but I typically just fish around Joplin.
Aaron might have a spot for you, man.
Yeah.
Down, man.
I have to ask Josh for his waypoints.
Man.
I don't know. I might jump in and do one, but
that'd be cool. That'd be cool, man. I don't do the river events as much either. I don't know why. I work Saturdays too, so it's like I definitely ask off for the Moyak events and the live events, but I don't do the rivers much. I probably should. It definitely seems like a lot of fun, and especially when you get guys in like one region, whether it's the west, central, or east. Like it's really cool seeing guys in the same area on different stretches of water. Because I mean, as many lakes as we have, there's crazy amount of rivers too to get on. So it's pretty cool to see those guys.
Yeah.
Did you guys fish the Lake of the Ozarks event?
Yes.
Did you guys come to the check-in over at Eco?
Yep.
I went and bought some more of the 4x4 Brewing Co. It's actually the Parkside Pineapple. Guys, they have sponsored some of the events for this year. Troy will bring in some of their samples for us. I want to give a shout out to them real quick. 4x4 Brewing Company is really cool. I really do. As fruity as it may sound, I like the pineapple.
You would.
But,
I'm a pineapple fan.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's a great beer. She likes it too, so it's not like I can get some and she can drink some too. But Aaron, I will forgive you for that comment, and we'll move on. But anyways, let's talk about Stockton. We got Stockton on Saturday. The water's going to be up there as well. Probably not as bad as Truman, but it looks like the water's going to be up. Michael, what do you think? You think it's going to be all bushes again, all wacky rig? What do you think, man?
Well, it looks like we're supposed to get some rain here. I want to say it was like Tuesday or Wednesday up there. I don't remember, earlier in the week. And I think a lot of it will depend on how much rain they get and if it influences the water level and the water clarity. If it doesn't influence it too much and they kind of let the water out, I think fishing is going to be pretty stinking good. But if it raises it a few feet, I think we could be in a similar situation at Truman again with the water fluctuating and the fish kind of being in a funk. And water clarity might be at a premium in that situation, just like it was at the Truman event. So, yeah, I'm just waiting on the rain and how much they're going to let out of the lake.
Aaron, what do you think, man? What do you think Stockton's going to do? You think it's going to be up and muddy? You think it's going to be shallow by it? You think it's going to be deep by it? What do you think, man?
Man, I guess, of course, it depends on the amount of rain. If it comes up a lot, I really hope it don't, so we don't see a Truman repeat. I've got some guys I've been talking to. They're, fish are spawning. So I think if it doesn't come up very high, or if it does come up, probably be able to find some fish on that old bank line, depending on water clarity, of course. But I think it'll be a bush game. I think this one will be one in the bushes.
Yeah, it'll be different. I don't think it's going to be as bad per se as Truman, with the water coming up so much. Stockton is almost like Table Rock where, it seems like it stays a little bit cleaner. Doesn't get as muddy. You can definitely find some cleaner water. But who knows, with that being said, guys may be looking for that dirtier water because it usually is so clean. They may end up in one of the arms and go from there. But I know. So I went Monday. I probably caught 10 fish, and I was like stoked because I didn't catch like hardly any at Truman. So I was like super happy, Yeah. But it wasn't like a consistent bite either. I talked to another guy at the ramp, and he's like, I don't even think the crappie has spawned. So, typically they say like the crappie spawns before the bass. I don't know. I don't know if they spawn there or not. It'll be interesting. I think guys definitely will. And there's always fish moving up shallow. There's fish that live up shallow. So like, I definitely see that bush, bite playing a factor. So, if you guys have your wacky rigs tied on still, you might want to bring those. But it'll definitely be interesting. I caught a big old catfish on live scope. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
But who knows? Maybe it might even be a live scope deal. You might have some guys show up and in that cleaner water they can target, fish with live scope. I don't think we've had that event yet where guys are scoping them versus just beating the bank or, fishing the old bank line or anything like that. So
Yeah,
it'll definitely be interesting.
Could be shad spawn too. It's hard to tell, but it's getting to be about that time.
No, and I think there was, like where I was at on Friday, I think there was a shad spawn there. I just don't think the bass were up that shallow yet or where they were at, which is kind of weird. Like it didn't make sense. I saw like even on like the debris, it seemed like they were spawning on the debris, and I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, where are the bass? Like, why are you guys not here with them? So
Yeah.
Definitely, you probably could get in some bushes where they're spawning on that, or the shad spawn's going on. That may play a factor too, and that may, if someone finds that early morning, that could make their day.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's take some numbers here. What's gonna win it, Micah?
I don't like this game.
Everyone
was saying, oh, like 93 a day at Truman or whatever before the tournament happened. I don't know. I do have a feeling even if the water fluctuates, Stockton could still be pretty good. I don't know, 90. I'd do 90 flat, I'd guess.
95. It's okay. Here's my second part of the question, Aaron. So be ready for this when I come to you. Like, is smallmouth going to play in this tournament, or is it going to be largemouth?
I don't know. I don't fish. I fish in the southern end of the lake. So if I catch a smallmouth, it's weird. Like, it's not supposed to happen. So it's not really a part of the equation for me. But the little that I have fished at the rest of the lake, it seems like a lot of the smallmouth are kind of in that 14 to 16 zone. So they're not like big players typically. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I've heard and what I've experienced.
Where did
for
you
me,
say,
it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, where did you say you fished on the south side?
There's a lake called Stockton Lake in the water, typically.
Oh man! All right, Aaron. What do you think? What's going to win it all? And do you think smallmouth are going to play this week?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, when it comes to smallmouth in a lake, don't even ask me. I mean, I know from experience, especially the water's clear, they will, they'll spawn deeper, like he was saying. But other than that, I couldn't tell you a thing about them in the lakes. I'm terrible with them. I can't ever catch them. I could definitely see someone busting out a mid 90s out of nowhere, just because of the shad spawn going on. Have to catch some of them females, especially post spawners that are up chewing. And like always, people throw that swim bait, and because I can't, and they always do, and kick my butt. So I think somebody will bust out a mid to low 90s. I bet.
Yeah, I mean 81 for Truman, which is kind of low. I think that first day for the All American, I think I was pretty close. I think someone had like 89, 90 inches, something like that. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. I think it's all going to play on the weather, on the water. How much it's up, how much it's not. You wouldn't think, but it sounds like Stockton is behind Truman as far as the spawn and where those fish are at. Which, I mean, it's not that much further south, but it is. But also that clear water. Stockton's almost like a miniature Table Rock in a sense. You've got a lot of clear water. You can get up into some of the rivers. There's a lot of big bays you can get into and all that stuff too. So it'll be good. I think I'm saying 93. I'm going to go on a whim. I'm going to say 93 inches, and I think that guy
Stick with
will
that 93.
What?
Stick with that 93.
I'm going to stick with 93. I'm going to go with the over. Go bigger than you guys. And I think that there's going to be like one Mondo smallmouth that someone catches. They'll probably be down by the dam where they're starting to get on beds and the water's clean.
Yeah.
That's
the
what
state
I'm
record
going.
came from there.
I have no doubt that there's some big smallmouth in there. The frustrating part about Stockton is it's windy. Like however they laid that lake out on the map, it is just conducive to wind. So guys, just keep that in mind when you're out there on Saturday too. Like, 10 to 15 is probably like 15 to 25 on that lake. With it running north and south, pick your spots, look at the wind, check that out. That can turn your day really frustrating. Make sure you've got an out, make sure you have, somewhere you can get into and protect yourself. But no, I think it's going to be a great event. Josh wanted me to remind you guys, he was going to be on here tonight, but he's not. So we're going to do the tackle box, the best damn tackle box drawing again. So if you want to enter that, make sure and bring some sort of tackle, whether it's a hard bait, soft bait, whatever. The 1 year that I won it, every single piece of soft bait that I got had 7 out of 8 of them, or 9 out of 10 of them. So like, if you don't like them, I get it. It's okay. Just throw them in there. Someone will get 9 baits out of 10 or whatever. But bring whatever you want. If you want to be really cool, maybe bring them like a jerk bait or something, higher dollar, but bring your tackle if you want to do that. He's also having the event catered. He says we're having smoked chicken wings with 2 sides. I don't know what the sides are, but So you got little food to look forward to. And I think I probably have to look this up, but I think this is going to be at is it at the Stockton? What's that place called? What's it called, Micah?
Like near the bait shop?
Yeah, is it? It's the bait shop, right? Isn't it?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna look this up right now. That way I don't tell you guys wrong. Maybe if my internet works. Where are we? It's usually at the bait shop there in Stockton. Yep, sure enough. It's called The Bait Shop, Stockton, Missouri. I want to say it's on the north end of the lake. But come hungry. Bring some tackle to throw in there. Somebody's going to win it with 93 inches exactly and make my prediction correct. Just letting you guys know right now. But no, it should be a good event. What is it? Is it Table Rock right after Stockton? You guys remember?
Table Rock West.
Table Rock West. So honestly, Josh will watch this later, but honestly, what do you guys think about making it just one side of Table Rock?
I like it. Part of the reason why is because, like, if you have awards on the north side of Branson, it pretty much eliminates all of Western Table Rock unless you're just going straight home after you fish, or unless you leave the water like an hour plus early, which no one wants to do that. So, I mean, it allows people to fish a side of Table Rock that normally they wouldn't. So I don't know exactly where awards will be, but I'm assuming it's not North Branson. Assuming, I don't know, somewhere close to West Table Rock, but I think it's good. I know a lot of people are going to be in the Kings. It's a popular area. But the White River I don't think it ever gets fished just because of where awards is at. And so that kind of opens up a whole new part of the lake. And there's plenty of room. There were some people concerned about there not being enough room in the Kings and the White and like basically where they join in Shell Knob all the way to James. Like that's basically as big as Stockton. So like that's plenty of room.
Yeah, I've fished around Kimberling City. I've been down south like Cricket Creek area. So it definitely makes it more interesting, more, I'm not used to fishing that side typically. I guess I still could fish Kimberling City area, but it'll be interesting to see where guys go. But Table Rock's massive. There's so many spots there too. So there's still a lot of water. But it should be a good event. Yes, hopefully it's, with it being out there, hopefully it's not an Indian Point. Indian Point's always been great, but if you do fish that west side, I mean, even Kimberling City or Cricket Creek, you're like, an hour away, and then, God forbid Silver Dollar City's busy because then it's a nightmare to get in there too, But yeah, Table Rock should be a good event. Aaron, what do you think about fishing Table Rock West? Are you usually a west guy? Are you usually like central or what?
And I'm a neither. I've lived here in Missouri my whole life, and I fished Table Rock for the first time last winter. So a year ago when I got in the kayak. Pretty sad, but yeah, I don't have enough opinion on it to really have that kind of choice because I've only fished one area in the 3 tournaments I fished it. So, and of course, it's like an hour and a half away from awards where our normal awards are at. So, the West will be a whole new ball game for me, for sure. So, but I agree.
And that might be exciting for you too, because I mean you're not coming in with like preconceived notions or an area that is out of bounds now.
Right.
So like that might play to your advantage because you're coming in there with open mind. But no, it should be a good event. It's crazy. We've already fished Lake of the Ozarks. We fished Truman. We got Stockton this weekend, so that's 3 out of the 7 for the trail series, and then of course we'll have the championship later in the year. But it's wild, man. It's like earlier in the year, but it looks like we're gonna have a good summer break as far as like timing between events, so guys can really focus on the river stuff if they really want to. Where typically summertime, that's where you want to be on the river. So But it should be a good time. But Micah, congrats, man, again on third place at the Moyak event for Truman. Aaron, good job on winning the River Series. Now you're going to have to fish every River event to chase that AOI because Tyler Cook is going to be coming after you. If I know him, he'll be coming with a vengeance. But congratulations to you. And seriously, appreciate you guys for coming on here. And Micah, do you have anybody you want to thank or say shout out to or anything like that, man?
Well, it is Mother's Day, so I should probably thank my wife, mother of my 2 kids, for letting me do hobbies like this. Before this, it was competitive disc golf, and now it's competitive kayak fishing. And it's a chunk of my schedule. Weekends are booked early in the year for certain weekends, anyways. But yeah, I'd like to thank her. No sponsors to thank or anything, so don't have
Micah,
to.
what's your wife's name?
Tasha.
Tasha, thank you so much for letting Micah fish with us and steal our money. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
Aaron, what about you, man? You got anybody to thank or you want to shout out to?
Ain't gonna be many watching this, mother wise. So appreciate you and Travis and Eco, everything you guys do for us and the team. It's definitely me personally. I get a lot with you guys. You help me out a lot, so you make it possible to stay out there and keep fishing. I want to kind of step back and thank Josh, not to kiss on him or anything, but we had a little struggle yesterday with 2 of my fish. They long story short, I think even his northern buddies that determined that it probably came from the same sack, because that's how identical these 2 fish were.
Those are your fish.
Those are my fish. Yep. Smallmouth. I didn't realize like and was looking at pictures to submit, and I'm like looking at them. I'm like, man, these are the same fish, But because I take different pictures of like the skylight in between fish, just to know, they're separate. But the more I looked at them, I'm like, these are the same fish. And I submitted them anyways, but I immediately texted Josh, said, hey, this is the situation, no ill intent. Plus the catches were 20 minutes of timestamps, and I don't keep fishing my kayak for more than probably 2-3 minutes, if that. And so at first, he denied it, like a good TD does. He did good in my eyes. No disagreeing with him. But then we were just more talking about it, and I'm like, he's like, if you can protest the denial, this, that, and the other. So I went ahead and did it. So that's when he got the panel and everybody, and they, whoever, I don't know who was all involved. That's their, whatever. But they started finding differences that I didn't see at first, which made it obvious that they were different fish. So, and I was like, it was fortunate for me, because if it, my next fish was a 17.25, which would have tied Tyler, and he'd have beat me because he had a bigger fish. So I was fortunate that they were different fish, so I was able to keep my win. But no, I know it's hard for Josh and other TDs to have to do that kind of stuff. In those situations, it's so hard because you got to do right by everybody else. And I'm not one to get mad, especially if it's the right thing to do. So, but I know there's people out there that would get pissy and they have to deal with that stuff. So I give props to Josh having to put up with everything and then keeping everything running smooth for us. So it was, good day turned out for me. So I appreciate it.
For sure, Josh does a great job running. It's probably like, 12 series overall that he's running between like all the divisions and whatnot. But he does do a great job. Really gets after it. Very responsive. Very good. It's tough to compete with him as far as tournament director, but for sure. Thanks, Josh. But guys, I'm looking forward to Stockton. I'm looking forward to a little redemption, and hope to see you guys there. Again, there'll be the best damn tackle box there. So, and how that works, you bring a piece of tackle, throw it in the box, and then we draw a name, and then whoever wins it takes all the tackle that was brought. So it's like a kind of a win-win. You might be getting rid of some tackle you don't want, but you may win a bunch of other stuff you may want. So, and then also it's going to be catered smoked chicken with wings on 2 sides. So come hungry. We'll be at the bait shop Hopefully we'll see both of you guys there and the rest of Moyak. But seriously, guys, thanks for coming on here. Thanks for just talking. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. I hope you guys are having a great day. And
Hey, John.
Yeah, man.
More thing. Do you? Is there dates? I've seen a lot of guys asking for the 250 this year.
Oh.
Oh. We've got so here's the deal. We've got the venue just about finalized. Cool. Looks like it's going to be October, and if you do your math, you can probably figure out what day it is. But it'll probably be October. But I'm not going to say anything until we confirm the venue. That's been the hardest part. I really think that we'll hit 250 this year. So we want to make sure we're prepared and ready for you guys. As soon as I know, we'll be on the Hooks podcast. We'll be on this podcast. We'll talk about it. But I think October. But like I said, we haven't got everything set in stone. So once we get a date and all that, we'll get with all our vendors, start announcing giveaways and all that good stuff too. I can't wait for the 250. Of course, it's going to be at Lake of the Ozarks. But like I said, it'll probably be October sometime. But as soon as we know that, we'll get it out and get that rolling. But looking forward to that one as too. If you don't fish any tournaments the rest of the year, fish 250. I think last year we gave away about 50 grand worth of prizes, and that was door entry prices. There was no qualification.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For that. So a great event. Like we just want to celebrate the angler. We don't care about a series. We don't care about an AOY. We don't care about any of that stuff. We just want to celebrate the angler and say, hey, thank you. The advantage with us being a storefront is we spend a bunch of money with these vendors, so they're able to give back to the community. And who knows, maybe we'll have some of the vendors come and enjoy it and maybe, be there to answer your guys' questions and maybe talk about what's coming out. That would be really cool. But as soon as I know, I will let you guys. I know there's a bunch of guys at the Truman event asking. I think October, but as soon as I know, I'll let you guys know. We'll get it spread out, get the word going, but for sure. But like I said, we're going to Stockton this weekend, so let's focus on that. Let's get through that one first, and we'll go from there. But seriously, congrats, guys, to you guys this weekend or last weekend and the weekend before, and I guess we'll see you guys all on Truman.
Thanks, man.
Sounds good.
Guys, thanks for being on here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Yep. Thanks for having us.